Hello and welcome to another Bunny and Teddy video diary, and in this one we're going to look back at our week away at the 2-star Dilhan Hotel in Icmeler. We're going to give you a full review and room tour of the hotel. We actually stayed there between the 7th and the 14th of May 2024. But before we get into that, if you are new to the channel, welcome one and all. If you do find this video useful for any reason, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for the rest of the season. There are going to be 2 more videos of this particular travel series to come, and while you're there, check out the other travel series that we do on our channel. We've been to various places in the UK as well as abroad that might be of interest to you. I'll put links to the playlists in the description below, and as you watch them, if you can give them a thumbs up and share them with your family and friends, and then get them to do the same. So back to this particular video, let's start with the location of the Dilhan Hotel. If you are coming in via minibus or some sort of transfer, you'll see it set back off the main road, which is the Kayabal road there in Icmeler, and if you look at Google Map, it's on the 43 SK as it says on Google Map. Now once you get dropped off there, you have to go down that 43, but you'll see a sign as you're walking down for the hotel, and it's quite literally on the right down another little road, and it looks like a driveway, but it's actually part of the 43. It goes like a loop around. Now we got there about midnight on the 7th of May, and when we got off our minibus transfer, it was a really rowdy street. We didn't exactly think that we'd left Marmaris at this point, because just before we got dropped off, there were half a dozen people that got dropped off at the Club Munamar Beach Resort, which is on the same road, that Kayabal road, and as they were dropping off, the whole street was rocking, and we were told that Icmeler was a quiet, relaxing sort of town. It isn't at night, particularly where we got dropped off. There are 2 bars, one opposite each other, opposite the 43. Both of them have laid off a load of noise through people shouting and singing, well, trying to sing, and then loud music obviously as well. So when we got off, we were a bit disconcerted by the whole atmosphere. However, when you walk down that 43, that little road, the sound as you're walking away from the main road, it just disappears. So when we got round to the hotel, we were greeted by 5 men, which seemed a bit, whoa, hey, what's happening here? But one of them is the owner, and all the others are like assistants to help you in with your luggage and see you to your room. They're all very friendly, but there was only one that really spoke really good English, and he was the one that took us up to the room. So after signing in to get your key card for the room, this young man helped us up the stairs and via the lift as well to get to the room. One thing you have to do before you go up to the room is hand in your passport until the following morning, so they can take copies of things in the passport there. And another thing to consider as well is that the hotel isn't really wheelchair friendly, and in my opinion, it's not very mobility, disability if you like, friendly at all. Now if you've stopped at the Dilhan and you are disabled in any way, shape or form, particularly with a wheelchair user, if you've already stopped there, let us know in the comments below, because we didn't think it was viable for anybody like that to be stopping there. There is a ramp to the hotel, but it's pretty steep, so you'd really have to be pushed up that. You wouldn't be able to do it yourself, I don't think. And I can't remember it being very wide either for a wheelchair. For me, the lift is only big enough for 1 person and 1 suitcase like what we did, because our other little one was carried up. I went up the stairs, the bunny went up the lift with the biggest suitcase, and we met up at the top of the stairs basically. I think you'll be struggling to get a pram into the lift as well. If you've been watching this series, the first video we did was about how we got to pick the hotel in the first place, and it was through Millington Travel. Suzanne, the manager of the Hinckley branch where we went, she'd been in contact with the hotel because it was Bunny's birthday on the 14th of May, the day we left, and she was trying to get us into a refurbished room. And if you look at the photos, generally speaking, of the hotel, the rooms aren't exactly brilliantly dressed, shall we say. The decor's a bit shabby around the edges. It doesn't look overly appealing. They said at reception that they'd put us into their best room, so we were wondering what the best room was going to be like. And when we first opened the door, we knew that it was a refurbished one because of the smell of the paint. We only assumed that we'd got a Dulux twin room, but it was a nice room, and I'll move on to the room tour very shortly, but I must point out a word of warning number 2. Do not check that the door is shut like the Bunny did, because it will set off a security bleep, and it's a constant beep, 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 and we're wondering what was going on. You know, what was it, a fire thing or what? It took a few attempts to reset the door, and it took about 30 to 40 minutes to sort it out. In fact, the young bloke who took us up to the room, he didn't know what it was about, but it was all right in the end. But we didn't want to touch the door again. If you press on the door to make sure it's shut, then it will set it all off, so we didn't do it again. So let's move on to the room tour, and apologies for the camera. I'm doing it with the Firefly now, and hoping that this will be alright. It's stationary, but when you're moving around indoors, it tends to be a bit shaky, so if some of the camera work is a bit shaky, just bear with it. So let's move on to that room tour with me in the room. So we're back in the room. We've been here for a few hours actually. It got really hot out there, about 27. I can't be doing with it really, the heat. So we've come back to the room, and now the Bunny's gone downstairs to have a look round the pool area, but I've warned her that it's going to be cold, that pool, because it's somebody said already that it is. So she's left me alone in the room, so I'm going to give you a room tour while she's out of the way. So let's start at the door, and an interesting sign on the door: fire safety instruction. So let's go into the room itself. Can't show you the bathroom because the light doesn't work because the Bunny's took the key. Bottled water is essential here because drinking water is bottled water. They gave us the best room in the hotel because it's Bunny's birthday, and as soon as we opened the door, the smell of paint was very evident, and as you can see, it's a twin room, although I think most of them are apparently, and they're very comfortable beds with a bedside table in the middle there. We brought plenty of plugs because they're 2 power outlets there in the middle. We've got each got a good lamp over the beds there, that's very good. We haven't got a light centrally in the ceiling, but this light here omits quite a bit of light. We've got coat hooks here, and we've got a nice dresser here with a tea coffee station, kettle and all that. Mugs without handles. These here are the things to hold them with. You got a phone, but I don't know how to use it. The fridge wasn't on to start with, but it does come supplied. It's got our tea, if you like, our supper in it, but the cans are very much supplied by the hotel if you wish to participate. But it did come on and switch it on, so it is cold, but it's a bit, I don't know, it's not as cold as you want it really. You got a little stool. This drawer is quite good, it's holding all our essentials in there. TV, we don't know whether that works or not, but there is a remote for it. And then you got good hanging space here with an overhead unit, if you like. There we've got 3 shelves on the side of the hanging unit there. That's your room really. The bathroom we'll have to show you separately on the other camera probably. And then we've got a very nice view from the balcony. I don't know whether we can see the Bunny from here, but no. 2 chairs and a table. They do allow smoking outside. And this is how they do the towels. They actually put them out to dry here, the sheets. So, but they are cleaned daily, rooms are. And it's a nice plant here. out here, but so you've got to be careful of the bees. I'm going to switch to the other camera now to show you the bathroom. There's the bathroom, and it is quite literally this small, so I'm standing right by the door there. So you've got toilet with bin and paper there. You step down into the shower. It's nicely floored actually. It's one of these like a spongy tile floor. We had no hot water today due to the lack of sunlight, and like in Mauritius with the water tanks on top, they are very much dependent on the amount of sunlight you get as to whether you're going to get hot water or not. But that is the shower unit there with its soap dish, if you like. There's the holder right up there. Even I can reach it, so it should be alright. Again, this is the ventilation there. It's meshed off so nothing can fly in. And then you have the sink with cupboard there. I do say there a lot, but that's what it's all about really, isn't it? Another soap dish there. And then you have the hair dryer. We haven't tried that. Another cupboard with bits in it. There's me in the mirror. That's quite ample, as I like to say. But that's your bathroom, and there's nothing more you can say about it. You got hooks on the back of the door, but that's about it, guys. So that's the room then, guys. Tomorrow I am actually going to finish the vlog today. We haven't done it for the last 2 days. Tomorrow we hope to go to a new place for breakfast, and then we are going back up that road where we were today to even further onto the main road that bypasses Icmeler and takes you to the little village of Turunch.
Turunch! Where? Turunch!
There you go, that's how excited the bunny is. So we'll see you there. So that's the room tour for you, and don't forget, word of warning number 3, don't put any toilet paper down the toilet. So on to the rest of the hotel. We were on a B&B basis, but if you consider the Dilhan as a place of staying, if you fancy it, I would only suggest you go self-catering stroke room only. The breakfast options are pretty much, I want to say terrible. I would say terrible really. To say terrible would be a little bit over the top. I'd say certainly basic. Some of it was inedible. They try and cater for a typical Turkish breakfast. If you look back at the last video, what Bunny had at Emek was a typical Turkish breakfast. That's how it should be done. Dilhan tried to do it by separating the different items out, but it's failed miserably because the olives in particular, she didn't like the smell or taste of them, for example, so you don't really know how long these things have been left out, really. Butter was margarine. There was only one variety of cheese that I can remember. There were the hard-boiled eggs, but there was no other choice of egg. The bread was a type of baguette with chopped tomatoes and cucumber, which was okay, but again, as I say, the freshness of that sort of ingredient was a bit questionable. There was a juice machine that wasn't very nice. It tasted a bit metallic, as if it had been standing in that machine for ages. But at least the coffee machine was okay once you'd figured out hot water from the actual coffee options that were on the machine. That was okay, the coffee machine. And I think you had to ask for a Turkish, not coffee, tea. Turkish tea. I think you had to ask unless they had bags, I can't remember. But again, you could get a Turkish tea, which is nice if you ever had one. They didn't really do a hot breakfast. They did offer an omelette, but it was a one egg omelette with nothing in it, just a plain thing. If you fancied that with your bread and maybe the hard-boiled egg, you could make up some sort of a breakfast for yourself. Now, I didn't film the hotel as such because it wasn't really good to do it. There's a lot of people there. I didn't want to disturb people going around with a camera and all that. I could have done the breakfast area, but I mean, as I say, you don't want to stay in there really. It's not a very atmospheric, inviting area to go into. It didn't really offer anything other than a place to sleep. Apparently we'd heard stories that the pool was freezing. The bunny didn't go in it, to be fair, to try that out. I don't know whether she tested the water at all. I can't remember her saying anything. Though there is a bar, and it's got chairs and tables down if you're going up to the bar, it's chairs and tables down the side. Then they got poolside seating as well, and sun loungers. I don't know about games or anything like that you could tap into other than darts. I think it had a TV out there, but you know, each to their own. There were quite a few people there, which surprised me, to be fair, and they seemed to be enjoying themselves, but it wasn't our scene. There were a couple of couples that we got attached to a bit. They came from Nottingham, Bulwell to be exact, and they were telling us about their previous stays, good and bad. Taxi Tony, who I mentioned before, he'd been going there for 34 years, so he'd really seen it all through that hotel and other places as well. I will say that all the staff, particularly the cleaners, Ishmael and somebody or other, I can't remember her name now, but they were very friendly people, always trying to chat with you, wanting to practice their English on you, and the Wi-Fi wasn't that bad either. That was quite good in the room, and they did do some special dining evenings, but again, because of their breakfast offering, it wasn't really, you know, I thought it was going to be a little bit dodgy, so we didn't bother with any of that. Would we stay there again? I suppose we would, on a self-catering room only basis, because it's well located for the beach. It's only 400 or 500 metres away from the beach, and it's quite literally just down the main road to the beach. And of course you'd have to expect all the rooms by next year to be refurbished the same way as ours was. Next time, join us again for another special day in Icmeler, where we decide to take a water taxi just south of Icmeler to the amazing little village of Turunç. Until then, bye for now.